People were furious. Where does this white Shirumbu lady, who does she think she is? I was like, oh, nobody understands my music. Why am I even doing this? I'm done with Namibia. I'm done with Africa. I should just move to Germany and I should just go and be the African princess there. And why am I even here? I was like, these people, they're not giving me my flowers. They must just go.
You are almost in everything in entertainment. You are a musician, you are an actor, you are a songwriter, like almost in everything.
Yes.
How do you manage that? And
The word manage.
To be the best that you are actually.
I love that word manage. I think it is a very intentional practice. And I exercise a lot of intentionality in my, can I say, compartmentalizing of being a mother, being a wife, being a mentor, writing my own songs. By the way, people are angry that I have not launched or released a song this year, but it's coming. It's coming. Okay. If you think about global warming and the climate crisis, I've decided to write a very tongue-in-cheek Amapiano song called Hudde, which is a slang for hitte, which is the Afrikaans word for heat. So it's coming. So I'm just saying, I decided to keep people waiting a little bit because good things are worth the while. And I think, my music, and then almost having gone to Omaruru now to do my African Mama tribute show to Miriam Makeba, I see that I am in a lot of, can I say, lanes in the industry simply because I have to. I think the only way to have longevity in Namibia, because we're so few people, you have to be in various lanes, various sectors, and it can't just be singing, because how will you pay your bills? I mean, I'm a mother and there are so many responsibilities. So of course I'm a musical director. I learned how to DJ during COVID. But it's a lot of work, Elizabeth. You can't just decide, oh, I'm a singer now, and then what? So it takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of time and thought. Like, how am I going to do this? With whom am I doing it? And you mentioned earlier off camera that you need people to support you.
Yeah.
And I can just say that Hendrik, my husband, and my children, they're my first supporters. Without them, this career, this whole thing is impossible. And then obviously I have my industry greats, like my director, Sandy Rudd, and my colleagues and peers in Drag Night, in Alchemia, in so many different factors.
I see that you really have a strong support system.
And
that's very important when you have people that understand the work that you do and your passion.
But there are also people who don't have that support structure, and that's why it's so important for people like us, people with influence, people with, where the light travels. We need to shed light on opportunities or create opportunities, and that's exactly why I created Song Night more than 10 years ago. And then why I also am the co-CEO of Drag Night Namibia together with Rodelio Lewis. We need to create platforms so that people who don't have support systems, who don't have the influence, can have access to free opportunities to start creating their own, level of supporters, so that they can then carry on to the next, neighbor, friend who needs an outlet through creativity. I think it's incredibly important what we do.
Yeah, that's very true. And coming back now to the question, so we only know you as Lize Ehlers, in the entertainment industry, as Africans and all. But now I want to know, who is Lize Ehlers? Who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah, who are you? What are you?
What am I?
Yeah. Just more about you yourself.
I think the first thing I'd like to say about who I am is that I am a woman who understands that coming from Marinta, the South, coming from a family of 7 kids, and my mother's sister married my father's brother. They also had 7 kids. So coming from a house with 7, brother, sister, building houses next to each other, who I am is someone who observes the people in their life and always tries to help the people in their life. I'm a helper, I'm a giver, I'm a doer. I don't just talk, I act. Like you'll see a lot of people can testify that I'm a person of my word. So when you ask me who am I, apart from the music and the acting and the DJing, I am a person of my word. And that was pretty much instilled very early in my life, that that's a currency I can trade in, you know. It's a currency that I understand and that people respect, is that if I told you I will be there, I will be there. Unless there's an emergency and I communicate with you that I just can't. But most my hit song is Just Show Up. Just Show Up has changed and saved my life, but I'm also learning to show up for myself now and say, I can't come. I can't show up because I also have to prioritize myself.
It's like, okay, now speaking about your music, like in your music, is there an influence or a genre that actually, the African genre that actually is incorporated within your music?
Of course. Of course. I mean, you saw my home. It's full of vinyls from my husband Hendrik's collection.
Exactly.
And he actually introduced me to Abdullah Ibrahim, a dollar brand, a South African phenomenal piano player. He also introduced me to Miles Davis, the jazz trumpet player. And obviously, I come from understanding music through Maria Makeba, through Brenda Fassie, that's why I have a tribute show called Mama Africa, because I have Zulu heritage, I have German heritage, but I'm also Cape Malay. So you'll always see me wearing some Indonesian cloth on my head or some African attire, because I want to be known as an African first. I know I got a lot of criticism when my albums went worldwide, people calling me un-African. I said, because I'm mixed, because I'm a mixed person, I'm not African. I don't understand. But obviously, I'm born of the soil. My parents are Namibian. So I feel very much African, and I have a lot of European influence with my grandfather and the German but when your question was like the influence, the influence comes from my family. It comes from the music I listen to. It comes from the music that I've been exposed to, the music that I studied, which is opera, classic. I studied classical music because I wanted to get to like the classical form of it all, but realized I wouldn't want to be part of the symphony orchestra, although I have the most respect for them and I attend all the concertos. But for me, jazz and fusion music can be very much heard in my creations. And obviously, I'm also somebody who respects the time that we live in, the times that we find ourselves in. And that's why I've started doing amapiano. That's why there's some house, then some, because I also want to have a good time. I want to dance when I hear my music. I don't want it to be too sophisticated, and I don't want it to be too, what is the word? Bougie. I also just want it to be from the south, from the street, because that's where I grew up. I grew up on the dusty streets of Sarajevo.
I see. But then I see you, like in the music industry, like the person that you are and the awards that you have, and the way you are so open with everyone, and the way you are like you say you are from the dusty street, and you're still that person.
I'm still a queen.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way.
But it's like when I told you that I'm going to go and perform at the mall now, you're like, sis, you have like 30 awards up there. What are you doing performing at the mall? And it's actually me standing in for a performer who couldn't make it. But I don't let my ego like kill me, because if you're not able to still perform at a market or at a community platform, then why are you performing? You can't just be there all the time performing for the president and performing for delegates and international stages. You must also, I explained it very, I think, clearly to my backing vocalist yesterday when we were in rehearsal, the beautiful Ori. She asked me, Lisa, why are we doing market performances? I understand why I'm doing market performance, but why are you, Lize Ehlers, still doing market performances? And I said, I cannot explain what this kind of family community performances does for me. It creates peace in my life. It creates like a surety that I have a foundation. because if I'm just flying high here all the time, I feel like where am I grounding myself? So that's why I'm able to perform at the mall without shame. I feel it's a dignified job. I get paid for the job. I look good while doing the job, and I've prepared for the job. So I think people need to destigmatize certain performances. They need to destigmatize being available, being open, being honest. And it's lovely to also be exclusive. It's wonderful. Actually, sometimes, we're all kind of private people. We also just want to go into a cocoon and say, I'm untouchable. I've worked hard enough to be untouchable. But then at the same time, that's not me. I've always been an open person. I've always opened my home. I've always helped where I can. The only difference is that I've now put in boundaries lately, especially in the last year, since I've been, just understanding my health and where my life is taking me. I've had to put down severe boundaries, and a lot of people have been upset by it. And I'm okay with that. It's like Kris Jenner said, when Kim Kardashian said, when I said no to this person, they stopped talking to me. And Kris said, thank goodness, send them a thank you letter, because that's the boundaries you need. You need to know who is able to accept a no from you and still be kind, and who is offended by your no, and then write them out, because really you do not have to shift all the time and make everybody happy, because in the end you'll be exhausted and you won't be authentically you.
That's very true. Like in your previous answer, you mentioned that you are an African and that you always constantly have to defend yourself.
Because of my skin tone, I'm light-skinned.
Exactly. And you have represented the African continent in so many so much stages and all that. So what is an African to you? Like, who is an African?
It's like, was it Nkrumah who said, it's not about being born in Africa. It's Africa being born in you. I mean, I could have very easily associated with more of my German heritage because I'm married to a German. How easy would that be? I speak the language. But having Africa born inside of me means I'm trying to learn the languages. I very much gooi the Afrikaans, which I like the language because obviously it's the language of the oppressor, but we decided to make it our language. We decided, hello, it's our slang now. And that's why I commend Tyla, who is taking the world over with the storm of water, her single, Make Me Sway.
Yeah.
And now in America, now in America, people are like, we can't call you a colored. That's just a slang word, a slur word for Black people. And she's like, America, it might be for you, but in South Africa, colored is a colored. It's a lifestyle. It's a culture. It is who I am, and I would like to be called a colored. And people are furious in America that she wants to be called a colored because they don't get it, that it's not a Black slur, but in fact, it's what I am. I'm a colored. So imagine if a hit single of mine goes to America and I'm like, hello, I'm just like Tyla. We're colored from the southern part of Africa. So I think never stop defending who you are. Don't suddenly say, it's okay. Because in the past, I allowed people to call me anything. They would be like, Liz, Rise, Lizzie, wow. I was like, Lize Ehlers, Lize Ehlers, until I literally made a song which still has to drop. I can't say the title of the show. It's one of my alternative ego projects. But I think defend being an African. Even if people are like, but you're culturally appropriating. What am I appropriating? I have my Zulu heritage. If I don't acknowledge it, who am I? Must I just acknowledge my white parts or what? So I brought this out in a play that I did called Butensis. And it was about the colored culture and how we don't know what to dress on Day of the African Child. We don't, the bastards, there's a difference between a bastard and a colored because bastards are primarily white mixed with Damaranama or Khoisan, and they were put in Rehoboth. Those are bastards. I'm not a bastard.
Wow.
I'm a colored from Marintal because my parents are mixed together. So it's not just white and Khoi or white and Damara.
And I think many of us, especially in we still think colored and
bastard is just one culture. It's not. It's totally. And that's why I said bastards kind of have this beautiful thing. They have an attire to wear on Day of the African Child. So we as coloreds, we constantly have to go back to our roots. Like, who was my great-grandfather? What was the heritage? What am I allowed to wear without culturally appropriating something?
Yeah. So one of the things that I also realized is that you are very much, like you said, you are very much connected to the community, and you also like giving back, and you have so many projects that you're also working on giving back in the community beside music and with your art as well. So how do you do that, and what are some of the projects that you actually
doing? So I started with song night, like I said. Now it's drag night. Then I started supporting the Sunday village market performances because I have to get my students to perform there. There needs to be, you can't just say I can sing and then what. So that's how I try and feature them in my sets. And then once the organizer or the client sees, wow, these people can really perform, they get paying jobs through that. The same through being a talent agent. I get people who have sung 1 or 2 songs, and I'm like, I mentor them and I say, please get your repertoire ready. Send me tapes or video recordings or at least an audio voice note telling me that you are ready. Let me come and check you out wherever you are just doing a small thing so that I can book you for a 2-hour show and pay you. So it's very much a mentorship thing, and it's very hands-on. The minute you drop somebody, it's over. Because a lot of people don't have the self-confidence or the support structure to keep doing what they're supposed to do and grow into. Then, of course, I'm very deeply involved with the Cancer Association of Namibia. My family has been terribly affected by cancer, and so I volunteer a lot and I support them with their hats and roses, and whatever project that they're doing, I show up. Apart from that, I mean, community work and just reaching out and trying to be present. I used to do a lot of free shows at the old age homes, Susanna Grauheim. But I mean, since my mother passed away, I'm more focused on the youth. But I think it's time for me to also go back to the old age homes and just do like a Christmas carol or something. And then my husband has this huge project that I still would like to do, is to go into the prisons and do a concert, because some people are there innocently and they're just sitting there, and it's not even about that. A lot of time when crime is committed, and I'm not motivating crime, I'm just saying people don't commit crime because they want to. It's almost always out of necessity, out of poverty. And it's something that we're all really thinking about the whole time, and we're like, how are things going to improve or worsen? And that's why I'm also an advocate for the basic income grant. You'll always see me talking about the basic income grant. I mean, Renani is doing all the work, but I'm just supporting and lending my voice to say, please, government, can we start the basic income grant so that people can just have at least 100 or 200 to buy pop or something? Because I think it's inhumane that people don't have food to eat. It's for me, it breaks my brain and it breaks my heart.
And speaking of your music again, like we see art, we communicate through art.
Yes.
And you do that the best. So what messages do you carry, or your passion, or the messages you actually carry within your music? And if you can tell us about any of your music.
You know that I have 6 albums out, and I have how many hit singles? The last hit single was with Gaza called Happy. That one, of course, was the inclusivity song, and about being true to yourself, and allowing the queer community to have a safe space of saying, there's this ally. And I won Best Ally of the Year last year at the Spectrum Awards because of songs like Happy, which says, live your truth. Do not try and be somebody that you are not, because you can't sustain that forever. But you can sustain being yourself. So my messages are always like authenticity. My messages is about showing up. You have to be there to be able to have the conversation. You can't have the conversation if you're not in the room, if you're not sitting at the table. So I'm always advocating for people to show up for their lives, because so many people have big dreams, but they don't do the actions to make the big dreams a reality. I talk a lot about love. Most of my music talks about love. I hardly do. Sometimes I have tongue in cheek. We're all people and funny, and I have a song called How Uplift. That rap. it's also needed to have fun, because in the past I was like, oh, I will never swear in my music. I'm so family friendly. And then I was like, that's not sustainable also, because I'm an artist, and an artist is supposed to provoke a reaction. An artist is supposed to make you think or feel things. And you can say, no, I don't want to listen to a uplifting. I don't like it. It's too aggressive. At least I got something out of you. At least I made you think that you don't like aggressive stuff. You like tranquil stuff. So I think in that regard, my messaging changed a little bit. I'm not so message music maker, because I'm always like, leave a legacy, do things with dignity, integrity, always. And most of the things that I have is about family. I'm a huge family person, but not having parents has made me grow up so fast, so soon, that sometimes I wish I was just some silly little kid doing silly things. So sometimes I would like to be a little bit more silly. But I think that part comes out when I'm with the drag queens, and I can just laugh and be a crazy, funny, unapologetic version of myself. So I think that's where the whole drag queen space, safe space. It's a real safe space for me to be with the LGBT community. I've just felt love from the LGBT community.
Speaking of the LGBTQ community, and I say you are a big ally for them.
I'm a very big.
So why do you think we as Africans, we should actually respect, or we should accept? Like, is it important? Like, why is it important for us to accept them in our community?
Yes.
Why is it important for us to be involved?
Yes.
And to be there for them, and to.
It's important because you can literally save someone's life. Imagine if you, instead of talking hate speech, you spoke love speech, and you spoke about inclusivity and visibility for the community. What would happen is that more people would feel safe. And this whole thing of LGBTQ is un-African, it's not true. It's not true. If you think about all the community healers and leaders, most of them were intersex or were LGBTQ, and they healed and did everything with peace. So this whole narrative of it's a European thing, no, not at all. If you just do your homework a little bit and look at where LGBT comes from, there's no threat. Nobody's going to kill your children just because they're gay. Most gay people are so friendly and literally are so born with a parental kind of a, let's keep the children safe. Let's please, the children must eat. This whole thing of, ooh, if I go into a bathroom with a transgender woman, the transgender woman will rape me. The transgender woman is not interested in you, sis. She's not interested in you. She's interested in being accepted as a full woman. She's not interested in you. So, and the same for trans men. Oh, this trans man will come now into the male bathroom and just look at us and our body parts. That trans man isn't interested in your body parts. That trans man wants a beautiful woman for himself and to be accepted as a man. So this whole thing of, I'm afraid, oh, I don't, stop it. Because this is what is perpetuating hate and people getting killed. And it's unacceptable, because I have gay people in my family, and I just want more people to feel safe. I want them to go to college. I want them to work. I want them to experience the same thing you, as a cisgender, heteronormative woman, can experience the same of myself. I want everybody to have the same human rights. And I immediately become more passionate about it, because I feel it's so outdated that Africa is still so mean to the LGBT community. And, December is Namibian Pride Month.
Yeah.
So I think we should all show a little bit more love and support instead of hate and hate speech.
That's very true. So we all have different, like, it's different African countries. We all have different Pride Month.
So the International Pride Month is always in June. June is International Pride Month. But for Namibia specifically, it is in December.
Yes. And then now, speaking like of your beautiful journey in the music industry, obviously everything didn't come without hurdles, without challenges. So as an African musician, what are some of the challenges that you guys face? Like,
I think as a musician, obviously funding and just trying to pay your own way, it's so difficult. Thank goodness there are institutions like the National Arts Council of Namibia. There are supporters like Positive Vibes and the UNDP and other instrumental organizations who help us. But you have to be able to write a proposal. You have to be able to speak. And not all people are able or equipped. So it's quite a journey to equip yourself and the awareness around it all and the awareness of how you speak. Because when you speak well, people listen. You know, when you're mumbling there in a corner, nobody's going to hear you. So I just want to implore fellow artists of Africa to be consistent. The one thing, when I started my journey 15 years ago, I was consistent. Only that consistency, being punctual, being sober, being dressed properly for the event, knowing it's a family friendly or it's a more progressive thing, just understanding my assignment is the first thing as a musician to like be booked more, to be paid more, to be respected more. And then I think in general, our music is getting so much better. I mean, look at the Yeezers and the Gaza reaching 1 million views and 2 million. And those things were not possible 10 years ago. It was just not there. So I think just stay consistent, stay celebrating your message, stay celebrating yourself. Not enough people do enough marketing for themselves. I prefer to go the natural route. You don't see my things, oh, everything is orange and white. No, my things are very organic. If you don't like who I am, you don't have to subscribe. It's how I am. I'm not going to change who I am because I have kids who look up to me. I have to be a legend for them. And I'm not going to suddenly turn 360 degrees and, you know, change who I am. And I think that's as a musician, you have to advocate for the message you're telling. And my message is just making people feel like they belong, because there's a very big difference between fitting in and belonging. I never want to fit in for nothing. I want to belong. And that's something that didn't come easily. Because I felt, you know, when I won the Female Artist of the Year in 2019, and then Exit won Male Artist of the Year. Then there was another prize on top of that, Artist of the Year. When I scooped that award away from Exit, people were furious. Where does this white Shirumbu lady, who does she think she is? I didn't vote for myself. The judges voted me to win because they saw my product was intentional, the artwork. I mean, I designed all the graphics myself, the photo shoots, the mixing, the mastering, the writing. I mean, I went to school for music. So I'm not discrediting Exit. I love him. I adore him. I listen to his music. But I was so grateful that a woman of mixed color won that first artist of the year award, and not just female artists, you know, because that's one thing. There's been a lot of female artists, but for me to win that thing, it set me apart from this struggle that I was on. I was like, oh, nobody understands my music. You know, sometimes you also sulk and you're just like, why am I even doing this? I should just move to Germany and I should just go and be the African princess there, and people will love me and they will respect me and they will book me every single day. Why am I even here? And then I was like, oh, but there are people who respect me. There are judges who have the skill and the knowledge of the industry who respect my work, and that's why I won. I didn't win because I was whatever. I won because I'm good at what I'm doing. So that affirmed something for me, and then I decided to stay. Because I wanted to run for the hills. I wanted to run. I was like, these people, they're not giving me my flowers. They must just go. Because if you don't appreciate me while I'm here, why must I stay? Exactly. So I also had that, like, I'm done with Namibia. I'm done with Africa. And then I was like, okay, I'm not done. So sometimes we need that incentive, that appreciation. And I think that's a good analogy also for you. Say you're doing all of this work. Sometimes you also just want somebody to tell you, wow, Elizabeth, your questions are amazing. Or, wow, Elizabeth, these interviews mean something. You know, you just don't want to go on and feel like, what am I even doing this for? So,
So now, I'm going to kind of skip my next question. But then, I think you can see anywhere you want in the world.
I can.
Yeah, but why are you still in Africa?
Because of my husband and my children and my community. I have real reason to stay. We love our home, and I want the children to finish their education. And I also still want to be around my brothers and sisters. And obviously, we're growing an industry. I have a responsibility. That's I can be more helpful for the industry. I can do better writing proposals. I can manage things just a little bit better. And we started this interview with the word manage, and I think we're ending the interview with managing because I also have a commitment. I'm a very committed person. Yes, we all mess up along the way, but I'm a very committed person. When I've told you that I'll do something, we do it. So I just want to also have a ripple effect in the industry that is not just ending now. It must end in 100 years.
Exactly, leaving a legacy behind. Yes, that's very true. And then on the flip side of the challenges now in the music industry, what are some of the achievements, the beautiful things that you spoke of you spoke of the artist of the year in 2019. Like, what are some of
those crazy beautiful golden moments? Obviously, when you're standing on stage, like I was standing one time on the jazz festival stage with Jimmy and Gludlu and with Double HP and Simfiwe Dana and then there was one, who was the main, I think it was Jonathan Butler years ago, not now, years ago. And my wig wanted to fall off. And my late mother, I swear to you, Elizabeth, my late mother's hand came out of heaven and it was like, your wig is not falling off, my child. She just held my wig. Just like, you will perform like you've never been. I performed like I was somewhere in heaven or something. My dress was 20 meters long. And we had so many fans on stage and my dress was dancing with me. And my late mother's spirit was holding my wig. I just cried as I sang. I will never forget that moment. And then obviously I won Best Female Theatre Actress in Namibia twice, in 2007 and 2017. So performing those plays, Leah B and Macy van Marintal, to standing ovations, those are the things that, especially when you then get that award at the end, you're like, wow, I didn't imagine it. I worked hard, I prepared. One-woman shows are not easy. You stand there for 2 hours with your dialogue alone. There's nobody to talk to. You just do the thing. So, and those are the kind of moments where I go like, okay, this was worth it. And then obviously all the phenomenal song nights and drag nights where people started crying because they're so happy and they're dancing and they feel alive. I think those are, but I mean, there are so many other moments like the birth of my children. I have one biological child. I adopted my beautiful daughter, Lua. I've become mother to my husband's children. And those are the moments that also shape like the quality of my life. Imagine I had Jackson Koyewa singing at my wedding for me. Who else can say that? So those are like the highs of my life.
Wow.
Very
beautiful.
Yes. Wow. Stunning.
Yeah, very stunning. So like, okay, like there are so many young people that they are looking forward to being musician, joining the art industry.
Yes.
So what do you think are the most important skills that we can actually that one must master or one must be focused on to really make it in the music industry? Not just to be a musician, but just to
make it.
Yeah.
First of all, you have to read NTN's booklet it's called the Industry Guide. You have to pick up a book and read. So get to the NTN website, and even if it's not on there anymore, contact them and ask for the Industry Guide. It will help you to read the testimonials of myself, of Gaza, of Big Ben, Erna Chimu, Rashiama. We all contributed to that guide. Equipped yourself. So read that book. Then second of all, you have to be good at what you do. You can't just sing in the shower and now you're a singer. You have to do some short courses on YouTube. There are so many free courses. Then you have to read how to get your music online, what you need. And then obviously you have to start studying business a little bit. Because I told my mentees from years ago, when I walk out of my house, I'm a walking, talking business. So obviously when I'm going to buy a bread, I'm not Lize Ehlers. I'm just me. Sunglasses, scarf, unrecognizable. But when I go out to perform or when I'm in the public for attending a friend's book launch or going to NAS to support Dr. Sarala or whatever, I dress the part because I want to be booked. I want people to go, who's that queen walking over there? I need her at my wedding. So you have to, it's called, attracting abundance. You need to already be abundant. So if you walk out there looking like this, you don't get a life that is like this.
Exactly.
So if you walk out there like this, you get a life that is like this. So this doesn't attract this. So that's also one thing. A very good friend of mine in the past, Mercedes von Kluter, said to me, always just open up your arms like this. It just looks so much better. She said that before my director said that to me. And I've always taken it to heart that I should open myself up more. And that's what I've been doing the rest of my career.
It's very true. Because I think most of us as young people, we just want to be there. We just want to be singers, but we're not looking at the business side.
It's hard work.
We're not looking at the skills that we are.
And you need to know who you are. You cannot copy Cardi B and now you're Cardi C. No. You need to, who am I? What do I have to offer that somebody else? I know for a fact that I am a pitch perfect singer. That's what I can offer. I can rap, I can beatbox, but that's not really my thing. What I am is I'm a very emotional pitch perfect singer. Yeah. I've gone off pitch once because I have Meniere's disease. Sometimes my ears and my eyes don't work together. But I'm not blaming my going off pitch on that, but it is a medical fact. But I'm so focused, so intentional about what I'm doing that I don't go off key. Because people who go off key, sometimes it's because you either have a middle ear infection or you're just not focused or you can't hear. So I'm just trying to motivate that you have to be incredibly focused, you have to be incredibly well rehearsed, and you have to do it consistently, because without that, people will forget about you and they will forget about what you can do.
We know they are our South African continent. We are going through a lot of challenges, but we also have the beautiful things that so many resources that we have in Africa. Yes. So what is like your African dream, or what is like your message to other Africans out there? Like, yes.
My African dream. My African dream is for more Namibians to go international. It's not that I don't have a SADC dream or an African dream, but I feel like South Africa is doing really well. I feel Nigeria is doing very well internationally. But I would like to see Namibians winning Grammys. I would like to see Namibians winning Oscars for a soundtrack. I would like to hear our Kalahari Namib sound. I'd like to collaborate with the orchestra and have this huge thing. That's why I'm so proud of Chief, is it Ijangwa? I'm not sure. From Eslon Ndongo. He did our first Namibian opera, which is doing very well in Europe. But I want more of that. I want more people to collaborate, because my beautiful friend and boss at Alpimia, Tuli Malila Shajueti, she wrote an African ballet called Anima. And I would still like Anima to somehow manifest internationally, go to Disney World. Imagine a Namibian ballet at Disney World, where you can just see our productions and our artists being paid in US dollars. That's what I want. I don't want us to sing for the same audience anymore and be taken for granted. I want us to wow the world. That is my vision. Namibia to wow the world.
Thank you so much, Lize. Is anything else that you want to add?
Please support Henok TV, support Lize Ehlers, support artists, support the people who are showing up, because it's not easy to show up, especially post-COVID. We're all still fatigued. We're all still traumatized, but I think we must just not show up and do the most. And remember to rest. It's something I'm teaching myself. Remember that boundaries are important, especially if we're in the limelight, because this is something I had to learn very late. So don't be as naive as I was. Be okay with letting people down and satisfying yourself, because ultimately, when you grow yourself, you grow your community. And be community orientated, because it definitely takes a village. It doesn't take one person. It takes a whole community.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We know that you have to go, so we are going to let you go. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this, and we are not taking it for granted. And we wish you all the best in your music area and in everything that you do.
Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Ciao, everyone.